annual Love Shouldn't Hurt Teen Dating Violence Summit. I am your host, Dr. Jonette Brooks-George. I am the CEO and Principal Consultant at Unmute Yourself Incorporated. We are an interpersonal violence disruption agency specializing in awareness, advocacy, and activism as it surrounds domestic violence, teen dating violence, community gun violence, and suicide ideation. So we have workshops, presentations, trainings around these topics, and today we're having a community conversation around the challenges that we're facing with teen dating violence. So today we're here not just to talk, we are here to listen, to learn, and to interact. And then we leave, we ask you that you take what you're taught today and put it into consistent action. Today we are here because too many young lives are being shaped with the issues of unhealthy relationships. Recently we had 4 lives in South Florida that were shattered because of teen dating violence. 1 was stabbed, 2 others were shot by someone who was supposed to be their love, their partner, their forever friend, right? That's what we think when we're in high school. Teen dating violence is not just about the bruises and the broken bones. It's an issue of control, coercion, fear, and ultimately silence. The organization is called Unmute Yourself. Today we are here to give you information, to empower you, to give you tools to use so that you don't walk around in silence. And those around you that are walking around in silence, you will be able to give them a voice and help them move out of situations that they shouldn't be in. So this year, our theme, the theme nationally is Respect That. That's the theme this year for the Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And this year we took that and we modified it to say, respect that heals and respect that empowers. That is our focus, healing and empowerment. So I'm wearing the shirt from our domestic violence symposium that we had last year. And the theme was, together we stand, together we heal. We are in a world right now where we see nothing but fragmentation. We see nothing but division and divisiveness. We see nothing other than individualism. We need to return to a place of collective action. We need to return to a place of community and the village. That's why we're having these conversations, to create support systems, to create awareness of the resources that are there, and you become the people that have the information to be the light in your village. So without further ado, we're going to start today's event. And I challenge you to engage in the conversation, to question what you're being told, to reflect on it, and ultimately to make and be the change in your community. So remember, today's not just an event, it is a movement, and the movement starts now. I would love to thank our sponsors, South Florida Wellness Network. Thank you so much for partnering with us and all that we do together. We thank you for providing this beautiful venue where we're going to have these vital conversations. We thank you for doing what you do in the community to heal lives that are dealing with other issues of abuse. Popeyes, we thank you. Popeyes is truly a community champion. We thank them. They are one of our consistent supporters. We thank them for our lunch that we're going to have. I hope you all like some Southern fried chicken, right? And TLC Recovery House, we thank them also. They provided waters and some of our refreshments for today. So, our next speaker, the next voice you'll hear is a phenomenal woman in the community. We met through one of her mentors who was my student at the time, and we became fast friends, even faster sisters. She does phenomenal work across this nation in community gun violence prevention. She works with the youth. She has workshops, trainings for law enforcement. I mean, she has the full gamut of anything gun violence prevention. So I'm not going to belabor the conversation, but I'll say a couple of things about her. She's a chief executive consultant at U-Turn Consulting and the author of The Backstory of a New Reality. She trains institutions to uncover systemic backstories, fueling the school-to-prison pipeline and gun violence. She is a commissioner on the Miami-Dade's Continuing Justice Reform Commission, and she's an advisor for Giffords Law Center. She works to address inequities in law enforcement and youth justice. With expertise in gang prevention, substance abuse, and juvenile advocacy, she has led numerous intervention programs. Dr. Plantin is an internationally recognized leader dedicated to disrupting cycles of violence and transforming systems for at-risk youth. Please welcome the amazing Dr. Shirley Plantin.
Good morning, everybody. Y'all could do better than that. Good morning, everybody. So a couple of rules with me. First, I want to thank Dr. George for the invitation. Thank you for all of you guys that are here on a Saturday morning. I know how difficult Saturday mornings are, particularly for young people, and to have to come in here. And then for the adults, I got to bring them. So I got it. But I promise you a couple of things. One, this will be a very lively conversation. I don't deal with dead people. I don't like dealing with dead people because I see so much dead people. And we'll talk about that. This is a near and dear conversation to me, not because I have personally lived through it, but because of the body of work that I do. So I'm an attorney by trade. I'm a member of the Florida Gang Investigative Association under the Civil Division, so I literally deal with gangs throughout the state of Florida. I specifically specialize in Haitian gangs because they function very differently. How many of you have ever been in a place where you walk in and people are looking at you like you don't belong? Whether it's the side eye or the turn the lip, right? Or you're in a household and you feel like what you're telling your parents, ain't nobody getting it. For my young people, how many of y'all feel like when you speak to your parents, what you're saying is not what they hear? I got adults raising their hands. And then I'm going to ask how many of my parents, when you're speaking to your young people, what you're saying is not what you think they hear either. The adults' hands up went up. So I share all of those sentiments, right? Because I have an 11-year-old. So I share those sentiments, and sometimes I'm like, I know what I just said ain't what you doing. So somewhere in there, we got to disconnect. And I say all of that to say, because the heart of the conversation that we're about to have, I want you all to understand the PowerPoint is a PowerPoint because I want to guide you through the conversation, but I don't want you focused on the PowerPoint, all right? I want you to focus on the interaction of our conversation. So I've had students shot 34 times, 35th execution style. I've had a student shot 18 times and by God's grace survive. I've had the opportunity of standing over, or let me back up. I've had the opportunity of having a mom wrapped around my legs, literally saying, Miss Shirley, you're all I got, because the cops said they're done. And her daughter's been missing 21 days, and we found her in a dumpster, barely breathing. And that one, that last one in particular, the reason I wanted to talk about that one first is because it was the love of my life. It was my boo. We're going to be together forever. He my baby daddy. That's crazy to me, but okay. You guys ever heard of sex rings? Well, let me back up. So a couple of things. Where Dr. George at? So I don't get in no trouble. Dr. George, you know when you invite me, you don't get nothing but, you don't get fluff, right? I know. Okay, so is everybody else, we're going to have some real conversation. Because in order for you as young people and for parents to protect you, you got to really understand what's happening on these streets, right? So there's going to be some things like, ooh, but it's the ooh you learn from, right? Dr. George, how much time I got? So I make sure.
Good. I will give you a...
Good job. Okay, so I want us to understand that understanding the way that young people see things is very different. So this young lady, her mama, her daddy, everybody told her, this is not the right boy for you. So in my line of work, what I often find is that as much as I love the girls are the nexus to all of the problems. All the gang fights, all the shootouts that happen often start with the girls. Why? Because we're sleeping with this group, I'm gonna get the money, I'm gonna do what I need to do, and then I'm gonna give this group all the information to the other group because the other group got more money. So the heart of the problem tends to always start there. But what I want you all to understand is that a lot of times we blame systems, we blame kids, we blame schools, we blame everything else. Here's part of the hardcore for the parents. A lot of it starts at home. It's conversations we're not having. It's us as parents not doing our jobs, and it's us as parents turning to these social media stuff, these apps and the stuff that we give them and say, y'all all right. I want to be the first one to tell you we're losing our kids because of social media. Not because of what social media does, but the access that they have. So I say that to say, this young lady met up with a group. Oh, it's just fun, and the way that they recruited her was a modeling gig. They're looking for models. And when they went to recruit her, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, they do a whole photo shoot. And when she's about to leave, they're like, hey, can we take you to dinner? To say thank you. They broke her off about $50. She's being cute. Her parents didn't want to get her hair done. She wants to be in with the in crowd. She want to wear the latest J's. She want to have the latest phone. And that is how they recruited her. And from there, it became, well, spend the night with us, hang out in the whole 9 yards. So she never made it home. And from never making it home, it became 21 days like that. And the next time her mom and her parents found her, she was in a dumpster. I have sex rings that are running at every school we know between Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. Parents have no idea that it's happening. Your recruiters of your sex rings are young girls who are actually being utilized by older guys. Because I can't recruit you if I don't look like you. And the reality is, the idea is, I'm gonna make you my main dame. You my main. To us as adults, my main would mean there's others. So why would I want to be a part of this? But the main also gets the privileges. I get the hair done first, I get broken off, and every person that you recruit for me, I'm breaking you off. So I wanted to set the tone because I also have a 24-year-old right now that's doing life in Arizona. Got into a fight, young black boy, got into a fight, had some mental health issues, parents never addressed it. We knew that the mental health issues existed. He ran off with this young lady to Arizona, never addressed the mental health issues and the anger that he couldn't manage, and he hit her in a fight. White girl fell, cracked the back of her skull. At the time, they were only 19. He's doing life in prison. So this idea that dating violence, for many young people that are like, this stuff don't happen to us, this ain't real, that stuff happened other places. No, that stuff happens here. This is us. Next slide, please. This is us. This is our reality. So a couple of things I want us to be mindful of, and again, I'm gonna just go through them because I know Dr. Georgia look and be like, but we were missing some things. So these are things she gonna talk about that I was missing, and then we're gonna get back to the nitty gritty. Teen dating. The statistics already tell us, and I'm not gonna dive into statistics because Dr. Georgia and all of her keynote, all of her guests, her panelists, are gonna talk a lot about statistics. One of the things that I always say about statistics, you could tell many stories with statistics. But the story that I want you to walk away with is that we're losing our babies. And it's not just girls, it's boys too. So what do I mean by that? South Florida is known as a sexy city. There are people from the minute that they're landing here for conferences and everything else that have already decided they want our boys. They've pre-ordered them. The price of a young man who has not yet had his, Adam's apple growing is about $1,900 per boy. And at the point that his Adam's apple and his voice begins to drop and his beard begins to grow in, that value drops to about $1,100. I want you to understand that a girl's value runs at about $2,100 without $2,100. You are purchased before you get here. It all starts with a simple dating. Dating the wrong person, running with the wrong crew, and they're selling you. They're selling you in a market that you don't even know exists. Hence why this is often the conversation that starts the year, Because then we start with human trafficking, because what we don't see is, as Dr. George said, my job is to make the connections for y'all. And many of these issues lead to the gun violence, they lead to the things that we're seeing in the streets. I don't know if you guys saw the fight that happened with the girl naked on 995 a couple of weeks ago. They on 995, they having a whole fight. The guy gets out the car, she's absolutely naked. It's a part of the dating violence. There are ways that we allow people to speak to us and treat us and act with us that's not acceptable. But we got to understand that we're part of it, because the things are, there are signs that's in our face, we're unaware of them, right? Parents, don't be mad at me because I'm going to have to use some of their own language. So when you walk around talking about, that's my bitch, and now a guy calls you a bitch, now you want to get hot. But that's a sign already that if he's calling you out of your name, you should be concerned. None of that is cute. None of that we should be promoting. Oh, baby, kiss me on social media. Nah, take that shit down. There are signs. Those anger signs are prevalent in our faces, and a lot of times we're pretending not to see them because we in so much love. Love is a 4-letter word. Dead is a 4-letter word. You can pick which one you want. I'm sorry? Hate, too, is a 4-letter word. We need to understand that everybody doesn't digest and dissect love the same way, because all of us didn't receive love the same way. You can only put out what you have been given. You don't know what you don't know. So when you are dating someone as teens, I need you to understand that you may be healthy because you came from a good household that can show you what good love looks like. We all ain't come from good households. We all don't define love the same way, and we don't know how to show it. So somebody slapping you, pulling your hair, girl, come here. Why you on the phone? Let me see your phone. Here's the one that killed me. Why you got a password and I can't get it? Because it's called a password. It's mine, not yours. But these are all the little signs that we pretend are just nothing. He just loved me, girl. He protective over me. Be careful, because that love and protection becomes something different. Now, I know I got a lot of young ladies in the room. I want y'all to know that this same amount of violence is happening the other way around. Our women have become more aggressive. I will tell you personally, I will deal with, and I deal with gangs, I will deal with 1,000 male gangs before I deal with 2 female gangs. Because the females carry the blazers in their mouth, the razors in their mouth. The female, I'll tell you guys a short story. I got a call on a Sunday afternoon, and my kids on the street call me SP. Yo, SP, where you at? I said, I'm home. It's Sunday. What you want? Nah, you might want to show up. You girls wilding out. I said, where? They're in the back of a school. When I get there, everybody know the rule. You see my car, act like you don't see me, keep the party moving. And I get there are 300 girls fighting, East Side and West Side girls fighting. And one of the girls that's at the head of the gang is my client. And while I'm sitting in the car watching this, I call the police, because we're partners with all 34 police department, Homeland Security, the FBI, whatever. So I called and I said, I got a situation. My girls are in a fight. I need you to come stop this. But while the fight is going on, I also see all the foreigners and the kids know. So I see all the cars. So I know which gangs are watching the fight as well in their cars. And all of a sudden, I hear a chainsaw. Girl picks up a chainsaw and she's about to cut the neck of another girl. The only reason it didn't happen is because her best friend at that time had a sense of urgency and knocked her the hell out right in the middle of her face. That young lady would have been serving life in prison. But that same young lady, next slide please, the importance of awareness. For those who are believers, you know that certain things happen to you that you ain't got no control over. So I get a call, that same young lady, Mika's in a fight. And I'm running to the schoolhouse. And when I get to the schoolhouse, it's her and her boyfriend in a fight. So I get there and I talk her down, and she's walking out. And as she's walking out, the boyfriend gets in the car and he's about to snatch her and says, you need to get in the car. I'm standing right there. That goes for the lack of respect that's happening. I'm standing right there. She says, I don't want to do shit with you. Excuse my French, but again, I told y'all it's going to be kind of rough because this is their conversation. And the police showed up and said, I need her anyway. I need to arrest her. And I said, you got to take her down? Yeah, I'm taking her down. And he threatened her and said, you mine tonight because you ain't making it. I want y'all to know, by the time she made it to the JAC, which is the Juvenile Processing Center, he was on an expressway. He got into a car accident, and the car blew up with him. she would have been in that car. So I want y'all to understand the ideas that we're having is, one is we want you to understand how do you promote long-term, because these things have lasting consequences. When someone belittles you, someone speaks down to you, someone tears apart your dignity, what they're doing, it doesn't go away because you broke up with that person. That person also took away a part of who you are that you don't get back if you weren't healthy in the first place. And I'm going to be very clear, many of us ain't healthy. Even the adults. The second thing is we want, through this event, what Dr. George is asking us to be able to do as a community is to promote healthy relationships. But the word healthy is a fully loaded term. What's healthy for you might not be healthy for me because you don't know what I was brought up in. And what you were brought up in is considered normal until the cycle is broken and somebody can teach you different. And the last thing I want you to understand is empowerment through education. Next slide. Empowerment through education. That's why these events are important. Because all you know, all you understand is when you know better, you do better. But if you don't know better and you continue to move in the direction that you move and you find yourself in really difficult things. So what are some of the things I want you to pay attention to? The excessive jealousy. Who you talking to? Why you always on the phone? Why you always with that person? Why you can't spend more time with me? Why you can't hang out with me and my friends? The excessive jealousy, you should be concerned about. Second, I want you to be mindful of the idea of for parents. I always say this even in my gang, even when I'm training law enforcement, I'm training corrections, or I'm having community conversation with parents. If you want to know when something is going wrong, pay attention to your child's behaviors. When the grades begin to drop, the attitude is a bit more, the isolation, the friends change, you should begin to ask some of these questions. Something's wrong. No one knows your child more than you. Now, that's assuming you doing the work to know your child, because some of us don't, but we ain't gonna get into that today. Isolation, one of the things that they love to do too is I'm gonna isolate you from your friends, isolate you from your family. Why you can't spend time with me? I'm family too. Also, they more important than me. They will pin you against people that you have been with forever as a means of having to show your allegiance and your loyalty. The last thing I want y'all to understand, and I know my young people are gonna get real mad at me. You know about 2 weeks ago, how the world was about to fall apart because TikTok was gonna be banned? Like, y'all cared more that TikTok was being banned than what y'all were gonna eat tomorrow morning. Some of y'all had no clue that we could be going to World War III over TikTok, but y'all upset because y'all can't get on TikTok. And the ban lasted a whole 24 hours. Not even 24 hours. See how much? No, it was like 18 hours. So she had specifics. My girl was like, all right, it's about time. But I want y'all to understand, my parents, I really want you to understand this is how they maneuver. So we can make social media as evil as we want to, but what we do is we create a bridge between us and them. Now, for my young people, don't get mad at me. Y'all know y'all have the accounts that your parents know about, and then the shadow accounts that your parents don't know about, and that's the shadow account that you twerk in, and you know the cleavage pictures and all. Those are the accounts that get you in trouble. I see that, yeah, we snatched and we tighten up and, you know, you shimmer and all that stuff we do so we could be cute. And the fellas have them too, but the fellas have the guns and the money and the dimes and the this and the that because everybody want to be Kai Cenat now. Screaming and hollering. Ah! I don't understand why he yells so much, but that's just my opinion. The point that I'm making to you all is, number one, there's law enforcement in the room. Y'all make work for law enforcement so much easier. I ain't got to do nothing because you're giving me everything. Everything I need on a crime, you guys are giving it to them because you're putting it on social media. But put the crime part to the side. How many of y'all plan on doing something successful with your life? Whether it's go to college, whether it's go to the military, whatever. What do y'all think they're looking at first? Your social media. You know how many students can't get into medical school, can't get into law school because of their social media? They get accepted, and then that application has to be pulled back because the social media is telling me something different. And it's not just the guns, it's not just the violence, it's also your behavior, how you carry yourself. So when you're around some of these people, I need you to be mindful that not everybody wants to see you succeed. And that starts with the person you calling the love of your life. Because I want to be the bearer of bad news. There are some amazing people, who's been together since we were in high school. Oh my God. I love that for y'all. I love that for y'all. But that ain't for everybody. Next slide. I really need y'all to understand risk factors, right? And I know Dr. George and so many of the other guests will get into it, so I'm not going to dive too much into it, but I want you all to understand the intersection of violence and teen dating and, the connections directly to human trafficking and everything else. When you are exposed to violence, there is a propensity of you becoming more violent. The data tells you that, period. So, if everything, when you were a kid, everything, your disciplining factor, everything they did was beat you, no one ever told you, this is why I'm disciplining you. We just beat, but I don't tell you why. Right? And for many of us in the room, one of the first things but I ain't got to tell you why. I'm grown, I did it, and if you don't like it, whoop my ass, is what I often hear. Right? But the problem is, first of all, because I got cops in here, I don't need them looking at me sideways over there, we are not fans of whooping anybody, right? We can discipline without having to beat. Wait, let me back up. I said it and the room got silent. We're not fans of whooping anybody. We're not fans of you abusing anybody, because the system will never tell you that you cannot punish your child or discipline your child. You can't abuse your child. And I think there's a disconnect there, because a lot of times we go to the extent when somebody say, give me a switch outside. No, that ain't it, because that becomes the exposure to violence. When you expose young people, children, to violence, violence begets violence, y'all. And especially when we don't tell people about violence, we don't talk about violence, we don't understand how you became so violent. You weren't born violent. You were taught to be violent. Now, whether it's in the home or on the streets, you were taught to be violent. When we begin to use violence as a method of reconciliation, as a method of defense mechanism, that is the exposure to violence that we're talking about. So now I get into an argument. What's your name, babe? Jakar? Jakai. I get into an argument with Jakai, and all I ever had at home was somebody beating on me, and the first thing I want to do is hit Jakai. Now, I don't know what Jakai's background is, and he hits me back. Now we got a problem. Substance abuse. So everything from the cookies to the smoking dirty, to the Chinese rat stuff y'all smoking, to the vape. What else y'all smoking these days? The gummy bears, all of that. The water bottles, the whole 9 yards. Substance abuse, and here's the funny thing. I just told y'all a whole bunch of stuff that parents still looking for joints. Don't look for a joint. They got other ways. They eating the cookie right in your face, not realizing that they're being exposed to substance abuse that makes them even more, and God only knows somebody's baking it. So you don't know how much of it is in whatever they're eating or smoking. So not only have you been exposed to violence, now you're taking something you don't know what the hell is in it, and now, as we know with most drugs, it gives you a high, then it got to bring you back down, right? So when it's bringing you back down, the first thing it hits is your self-esteem. So now you got somebody on the other end that's already telling you ain't pretty anyway. The only reason I'm with you is because you got that fire. I saw Dr. George's face over there. Oops. Next slide, please. Next slide. The impact of social and cultural influences. And a minute ago, I talked about Kai. But from our video games to our music, and I'm a fan of all the music. I love it. But the problem is our young people, your brains and that frontal lobe haven't been developed enough to understand that the people making the music is making music. Because the people making, how many of y'all realize that most of these people that are making music, all their kids go to Ivy League schools? They not even a part. They don't even listen to it. And if you think I'm joking, wait till graduation season so Usher could show you, so Jay-Z could show, so everybody and their mama could show you what they doing and when they dropping their kids off to college. And we out here shooting each other. Didn't even know they had kids that old. Because you know what they do is they insulate their kids from the foolishness that they sell to us. And in that process, why would I insulate you from something that I believe was positive? I'm insulating you because I know the effects that it can have on you. I want y'all to understand the perception of dating violence. All we need to talk about right now is Diddy. Diddy is the example of it. He said, Diddy? All we need to talk about, anybody that know, R. Kelly. Great music, I mean, epitome of black men that we would dance to and have, but the ring of violence, particularly as it related to the women that they dated. Look at the video that came out with Cassie at the hotel. Guys, it's right in front of our faces. The problem is we've accepted it so much we become immune to it. So as adults, if we become immune to it as adults, our kids are listening to how we're having these conversations. I can tell you, I've been in places where I heard, well, she should have known better. She wasn't complaining when she was making that money, but you got a daughter that's listening to you have these conversations. Our cultural attitudes can't make the violence okay. Our cultural attitudes cannot be that this is acceptable. And the preventing dating violence, we can talk to the kids, but it also starts with the parents. Next slide, Chief. I got to hold y'all accountable. Physical and emotional effects. The physical injuries are what we can see. The emotional injuries are the things we can't see. And those are the things that last a hell of a lot longer. Because those are the things unaddressed, we end up with situations that we didn't even know existed. Okay? That emotional distress, we can go on to the next one. That emotional distress, and while Dr. George was talking about the healing, it is real. From anxiety to isolation to you having panic attack, it's real. And a lot of times as parents, the first thing we say, I just need you to go to school and make good grades. But if I'm not okay, I'm not making no good grades. And the minute that's all we create space for, we lose the trust between one another. And now I'm not coming to talk to you to tell you that a young man put his hands on me. He ain't even beat me, he just pulled my hair, Mom. Because that's how it starts. It starts with a hair pulling. It starts with a grabbing of the shoulder. It starts with something small that, again, we have normalized. Because we'll make excuses for. Next slide, please. I'm wrapping up, Dr. George. The long psychological impact. The psychological oh, okay. Y'all get on her. Don't get me, y'all. Psychological disorders. Now, my people. We're no longer in the days where mental health is you're crazy. Do I understand the cultural nuances? Yes, I'm of Haitian descent. You say anything mental health, they say, oh, you crazy. And it used to be a running joke in the Haitian community that anything mental health meant you're crazy, so we don't use those words. But then because of the work I do, I find it in the Venezuelan community, I find it in the Cuban community, I find it in the Puerto Rican community, I find it in the Jamaican community. We have created this word that is it's a boogeyman. Psychological disorders. Guys, we all have some psychological disorders. We just ain't been diagnosed. So the sooner we come to grip with that, the easier life will be for all of us. Okay, so that way I don't have to point fingers at you. I can't go talk to the church because they might judge me. You got a choice. You can either get help or bury your baby. For the young people, you can either reach out for help or you're going to find yourself in some really, really precarious situations. The impact on relationships. One bad relationship ruins all relationships because it bridges the trust. It kills the desire to ever trust again. It kills the desire. Even I see couples play fight. I want you to, like some of the play fight that these kids do worries me because you hit me, I'm fighting. So I need y'all to understand there's certain games that ain't made to be played because it only will lead to something negative. Like when y'all sparring with each other, somebody sparring, they deck you in the face. Now we got a problem. Everything has limits. Everything has limits. The way you love me, let me be the first one to tell you, you can't love me until I tell you and teach you how to love me. But I can't teach you if I don't know how to love me. And that is where the problem is coming from. We are not teaching neither our girls nor our boys how to love themselves first, but they want to get in a relationship with somebody else's baby. See, y'all getting me started. So the impacts on relationship isn't just relationships they're going to have with other people. It also impacts the relationships they have with you. Because I will tell you, I have heard young people stand in front of their parents and say, you knew. You knew and didn't do nothing about it. I've had others say to them, I blame you. Because all I needed was for you to be a parent and you didn't do your job. Those are some words. I've had parents, drop to their knees in tears. Because what the young people are telling us is they need our guidance. They want our guidance. But we ourselves need to be whole before we can guide somebody else. We got to seek some help too because we've experienced some of this that's unhealed. The importance of early support. You know your baby. Your baby come home with a mark on her face, especially if she light-skinned. It is your, next slide, Shahid. It's your responsibility to say, come here. You didn't go to school like that. Where this came from? But the problem we have now is half of y'all don't even see the kids before they go to school. Or you're not home when they come home. Not blaming us, but we're blaming the system. We're blaming the world that we're living in. There are some work, so that means we got to go above and beyond sometime to have some of these conversations. We got to spend some time creating time. Next slide, Shahid. Creating slide to see your babies. So, importance of education. We all know the importance of education for your grades and whatever. But the importance of educating yourself about what dating violence, youth violence looks like. It's not always a physical abuse. It may be an emotional abuse. It may be this person calling you out your name all day long. It may be this person talking down to you. It may be psychological abuse where they're telling you, you'll never be able to be with nobody else. I'm the only person that loves you. Abuse is not always something you can see physically, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. But I also want to stress the importance of education. Young people, sometimes the abuse isn't coming out from outside your home. It's coming inside the home. It's starting inside the home. It's how we speak to young people. It's how we breathe into them. It's how we empower them. I always say, which leads me to my next point, the power of empowerment. Again, the believers will tell you the power of life rests with your tongue, life and death. So when we're walking out here telling them, you ain't never gonna be nothing your way, you just like your daddy. So somebody says it to them outside, guess what? It's acceptable because mama says it to me. Or mama and daddy always arguing, and they going back and forth, and they using all these outrageous terms toward each other. So I guess that's what love look like, because they say they love each other. So I caution us when we're talking about dating violence and teen dating violence specifically, understand that they're paying attention to everything that's happening. We used to often say children are sponges. Young adults are even more than sponges because what they are is the older they become, the more they emulate you. Signs of dating violence. It really is just that simple sometimes. If you see a mark on your body that you didn't get, you bought something for your child and you notice that that thing is missing, you notice they don't want to hang out with you no more, they on the phone 24/7. The things that there are signs that clearly say to you something's going on. It may not be violence, but as adults, we know when something's wrong. As young people, you're friends with someone, you know when something's wrong, when they start switching up on you. For my black women in particular, there is this new thing where people are like about the hair, and your hair this, and why your hair kinky, and why you don't do this, and why you don't do that, and you know, y'all, this whole DEI craziness. I need y'all to understand, no one is gonna love you until you love you first. You've got to be okay with you because it begins with you. Because the violence is about you. Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you don't know how to get out of it, if you're not willing to take the stand to pull out of it, then we continue to perpetuate it. Next slide. Parental involvement, my parents in this room, I will always come back and say that the majority of the responsibility falls on you. You brought these kids into the world. You fed your child, you know what your child like, you know what your child doesn't like. You know what makes your child tick. And if you're realizing that there are changes, if you don't know the right words, get some help. Get some help. Second, school education programs. I'm worried about what that looks like because of the funding cuts. I'm worried about what that looks like when people don't feel like, oh, this isn't important anymore because it's not happening in their community. Doesn't mean it's not happening in all of our communities. And then the question becomes, how many do we have to bury? How many do we have to pull out of dumpsters like I had to pull her out before we realize that it's real in our communities? Community support. Each one reach one, each one teach one. This ideology that that's your child, no, that's all of our child. Because if I see somebody putting hands on a young lady, I may not get involved because of the world we're in, but I'm making a phone call. Because that could easily be my niece or my cousin. That could easily be my sister. That could easily be my brother. At some point, this idea of individualism, we gotta put it to rest. Because they understand, those that are the criminals understand that that's how they win. Last slide, I believe. See, I know my stuff. Couple of things, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to Dr. George. Know the signs. And how do you know the signs? The signs are, if it feels off, y'all, you ain't gotta hold a PhD, you don't need a PsyD, you don't need a MWH, you don't need a LSW. If it feels wrong in your gut, something's wrong, it's a good place to start. That's a good starting place. Young people, if you're dating someone and it feels wrong, or your friends are saying, yo, something's off with that girl, or something's off with that dude, sometimes you should listen. And don't feel like, oh, you just mad because you ain't got no man and you hating on mine. Yeah, that's the quick answer. I know people don't like to see other people happy. Misery love company. Leave me and my man alone. Know your worth and your value. No one should be able to buy you. Ain't an iPhone in the world, ain't a pair of nails with all these trinkets y'all put on, ain't a hairstyle, ain't a hairstyle. There is nothing that is worth your value. And if you don't know your worth, you don't know your value, then you're always for sale. Period. And the last thing I'll tell you is know when to ask for help. I know there is this thing that asking for help makes me look weak. Asking for help is actually a sign of strength. Yep. But I also don't want to close without saying to my men in the room, there's work for the men to do. There's work for the men to do as it relates to other men, how we're raising our boys, the way we speak to our boys. Man up! Men don't cry. Because when you tell them that, then they go take that out on somebody else. Women, there's work for us to do. The way we raise our girls. You've got to create space for the girls to want to come speak to you, even when you may not be ready to hear it. One of the things that I always say to the moms, you may not be ready to hear it, but if they're willing to talk, I suggest you listen. You can go cry in your room later. I don't care what you do later, but at that moment, you may never get that moment again. And the last thing I will say to my young people, I had a cousin of mine who was best friends with a young lady. And my cousin was the one that was sounding the alarm. Something about this dude is wrong. They weren't even 21 yet. And she decided that she would no longer speak to my friend because the boyfriend said she's trying to divide us. And for a week and a half, my cousin kept calling her. My cousin Dina kept calling her and could never get a response. And they had just had a baby. So they did a wellness check. When they got there, he had chopped her up and the baby was laying next to her for 6 days. So when I say to y'all that dating violence is real, it's real. It's not a myth. It's not it's happening over in that community, it's not happening in this community. It's real. The ending of the story, we're gonna dictate the ending of each person's story here, and it starts with the decisions we make. You are better than violence. Whether you're the perpetuator or you're the victim, you are better than violence. You are better than someone calling you out your name. You are better than someone telling you you will never amount to anything if I'm not with you. You are better than, but until you decide how much better you are, someone can always tear you down. I pray that today you all are able to realize I'm better than all of this. And the decision to not allow this to continue starts with me. It doesn't start with anybody else. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your engagement. Y'all have a great day.